400 people in largest ever healthcare fraud enforcement. Before Donald Trump became president, he promised that he would crack down on fraud and waste in this country like no president had before. Now, arrests under Trump have just saved American taxpayers over $1 billion. Young conservatives reported that Trump's Department of Justice has charged over 400 people across the U.S. with participating in healthcare fraud scams totaling about $1.3 billion in false billings, including for the prescription and distribution of opioids. Federal officials spoke out on Thursday to call this the largest ever healthcare fraud enforcement action by the Medicare Fraud Strike Force. Thanks to Trump, 412 people, including 115 doctors, nurses and other licensed medical professionals, were arrested in a nationwide operation that involved more than 1,000 law enforcement agents in at least 30 states. 1 American dies of a drug overdose every 11 minutes and more than 2 million Americans are ensnared in addiction to prescription painkillers, Attorney General Jeff Sessions said at a press conference. We will continue to find, arrest, prosecute, convict and incarcerate fraudsters and drug dealers wherever they are. Some of those arrested have been accused of billing Medicare, Medicaid and a veterans program for services that weren't performed. Others are facing charges for prescribing opioids and other narcotics that weren't necessary and in some cases ended up being sold on the street. Their actions not only enrich themselves often at the expense of taxpayers but also feed addictions and cause addictions to start. The consequences are real: emergency rooms, jail cells, futures lost, and graveyards, Sessions said. We will continue to find, arrest, prosecute, convict and incarcerate fraudsters and drug dealers wherever they are. Share this story if you support what Trump is. Breaking: Shep Smith gets devastating news after slandering Donald Trump on Fox News. Shep Smith is known for being arguably the most anti-Donald Trump host left at Fox News. However, many Fox News fans are calling for him to be fired this week, as they feel he took things too far with his latest attack on Donald Trump Jr. Conservative 101 reported that Donald Jr. found himself in hot water this week after it was reported that he had met with a Russian lawyer during the election in the hopes of getting dirt on Hillary Clinton. He responded to this controversy by releasing his email thread with the lawyer in an attempt to head off the inevitable attack from liberal New York Times. Though many took this move to mean that Donald Jr. had nothing to hide, Smith tried to present it differently on his Fox News program. While talking to Associated Press reporter Julie Bykowicz's about Donald Jr.'s emails, Smith said, his transparency came minutes before he had been made aware that the New York Times would be publishing the same emails this released. Is that correct? Bykowicz responded to say that this was indeed true. So transparency is something that normally happens prior to learning that somebody else is about to document dump you. Normally that word wouldn't be used in this circumstance, Smith said. Each change in explanation happened after the New York Times brought out more of this information. Their story changes happen every time the Times brings out more relevant information. Share this story if you think Fox News should fire Shep Smith. Trump just went off record on flight, reveals huge surprise he has for America after he lands. While flying to Paris, France this week, Donald Trump continued the tradition of presidents chatting with the press corps on Air Force One. Though Trump was speaking off the record at first, a few pieces of his conversation with the press have been released, and they show a different side of President Trump that most Americans don't get to see. Freedom Daily reported that Trump spent much of the flight talking about China and the North Korea situation. A big thing we have with China was, if they could help us with North Korea, that would be great. They have pressures that are tough pressures, and I understand. And don't forget, China, over the many years, has been at war with Korea, wars with Korea. It's not like, oh, gee, you just do whatever we say. They've had numerous wars with Korea. They have an 8,000-year culture. So when they see 1776, to them, that's like a modern building. The White House was essentially built in 1799. To us, That's really old. To them, that's like a super modern building, right? So, they've had tremendous conflict over many, many centuries with Korea. So it's not just like, you do this. But we're going to find out what happens. He was later asked by a reporter if he was joking when he said he is considering building a wall between the US and Mexico that is made out of solar panels. No, not joking, no. There is a chance that we can do a solar wall. We have major companies looking at that. Look, there's no better place for solar than the Mexico border, the southern border. And there is a very good chance we can do a solar wall, which would actually look good. But there is a very good chance we could do a solar wall. What do you think about what Trump had to say? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Alert: terrifying announcement about Social Security. This affects all senior citizens. A major Social Security scandal has just exploded, and it shows the incompetency of Barack Obama's White House. The Washington Free Beacon reported that a new audit just revealed that under Obama's leadership, the Social Security Administration paid $1 billion in benefits to individuals who did not have a Social Security number, SSN. This was discovered by the SSA Inspector General, who found mistakes in the government's documentation for representative payees, otherwise known as individuals who receive retirement or disability payments on behalf of another person who is incapable of managing the benefits themselves. This audit found thousands of cases in which there was no SSN on file. Over the past 10 years, the agency paid $1 billion to 22,426 representative payees who did not have an SSN, and SSA had not followed its policy to retain the paper application. Furthermore, unless it takes corrective action, we estimate SSA will pay about $182.5 million in benefits, annually, to representative payees who do not have an SSN or paper application supporting their selection, the Inspector General said. In addition, the Inspector General found that the SSA paid $853.1 million in benefits since 2004 to individuals who had been terminated as representative payees by the agency. The SSA responded by shockingly trying to defend the issuance of benefits to non-citizens and persons without an SSN. Representative payees play a significant role in many beneficiaries' lives, the SSA said. We have approximately 5.7 million representative payees managing annual benefits for approximately 8 million beneficiaries. When appointing representative payees, we adhere to guidance in the Social Security Act, the Act. Specific to this audit, the Act permits us to appoint, in certain circumstances, an undocumented alien, or applicant who resides outside the United States without a Social Security number, SSN, to serve as payee, the agency said. Specifically, the Act states we should verify a person's SSN, or employer identification number, in our investigation of the payee applicant. However, the Act does not state that the applicant must have an SSN to serve as a payee. What do you think about this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Breaking: Barack Obama surfaces, makes terrifying announcement. There's a long-standing tradition in this country in which former presidents stay out of politics and retreat from the spotlight to allow their successor to shine unchallenged. Unfortunately, Barack Obama is ignoring this tradition, and last night he made his return to the political world as he tried to bring down President Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Daily Mail reported that Obama resurfaced on Thursday night to headline a fundraiser for the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. The event was held at a private home in Washington, D.C. and was attended by House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Obama's former Attorney General Eric Holder. The goal of the fundraiser was to raise money to fund the coming electoral battles next year in a bid to control the redistricting effort that is scheduled to take place after the 2020 census. Restoring fairness to our democracy by advocating for fairer, more inclusive district maps around the country is a priority for President Obama, the former president's spokesman Kevin Lewis said in a statement. The NRDC was created back in January and is run by Holder. Clearly, Obama has no intention of retreating from the spotlight and instead plans to start work on ensuring Trump does not win the 2020 presidential election. Obama and his failed policies are the reasons why Democrats lost over 1,000 seats at the state and federal level, as well as congressional and state legislative seats, governorships, and why Donald Trump is president. Share this story if you agree Barack Obama is a narcissistic fool.